The New Jersey gubernatorial race is about to head down the stretch, and electionyard.com is here to talk about it. Of course, go to electionyard.com after this video. And don't forget to like and subscribe, all the usual things that people ask you to do with videos like these. And yes, this is the flag of Colorado on my shirt, not New Jersey. Can't say I have one of those. And besides, Colorado is awesome, and you all should totally go. But this is about New Jersey, the Garden State, the Jersey Turnpike. They're rebuilding all those rest stops, about time, and the governor's race there. A few days ago, we talked about the Virginia race, and that is shaping up to be a comfortable Democratic win. Well, New Jersey is a bluer state on paper, so is this going to be even more comfortable? Maybe not, but I think I'd still rather be Mikie Sherrill. Aside from the fact that they're friends, there were a lot of political parallels between her and Abigail Spanberger in Virginia, and both might get elected governors of their respective states on the same night. First, let's set the tickets, because our last update video, both Democrat Mikie Sherrill and Republican Jack Ciattarelli have selected running mates. Sherrill's running mate is Dale Caldwell, the president of Centenary University in Hackettstown, and Ciattarelli has picked Jim Gannon, the sheriff of Morris County. Let's look at the most recent polls. There hasn't been much recently, and mind you, this was recorded on Thursday, the 4th of September, and right after we recorded our Virginia video. A new poll dropped in the Commonwealth, so if that happens, I mean, hey, what can I tell you? We did catch one that came through on Wednesday before shooting, and we'll discuss that. We had one poll by Fairleigh Dickinson in mid to late July, and the FDU poll had Sherrill ahead 45 to 37 over Ciattarelli with 15% undecided. When they did the release, FDU's own headline was, FDU poll finds that Sherrill leads by single digits in governor's race. That carries a connotation that the race is close, but she was up by 8, which isn't that close. A lot of those undecideds, by the way, were independents. Stimsite Research, no idea who they are. They did a poll around the same time period, and that produced a 48 to 42 lead for Sherrill with 9% undecided. The most recent independent poll was a Rutgers Eagleton poll, which went from early to mid-August, and they produced 2 key lines. The top line was 44 for Sherrill, 35 for Ciattarelli, and 17% undecided. Including leaners, it moves to 47 Sherrill, 37 Ciattarelli, and 12% undecided. Notice that even with the current leaners, the undecideds only dropped from 17 to 12, so there are still a lot out there. Yesterday, a GOP-aligned poll for TIPP Insights came out, and it had some strange results. They produced 3 lines of results, so I'm not going to bother putting it up. But their registered voters was 37 Sherrill, 36 Ciattarelli, and 27 undecided. Then 46 Sherrill, 39 Ciattarelli, and 12 undecided among likely voters, which morphed to 47 Sherrill, 43 Ciattarelli, and 8 undecided among what they term as registered regular voters. Any way you slice that, Sherrill's probably ahead. It's not really worth getting too crazy over these, given that most of these polls are producing double-digit undecideds. This is eventually going to change, and those are the polls that you need to know. If we get to that point and Sherrill is still up by mid to high single digits or so, she's probably fine. New Jersey can and has elected Republican governors. You know who they were. But as we mentioned here before, even when they did, there was sometimes a very unpopular Democratic incumbent that made it easier. This race has no such issue. Last point on the polls for now, because there's not really any news here. Lots of undecideds, and Ciattarelli has been pretty much sitting in the high 30s. Not where a winning campaign wants to be. I'm not saying Sherrill is in the clear or anything like that, but this is Ciattarelli's second time running. It's an open seat, and he's barely cracking 40%, even putting aside the high undecideds. If this were really his year, wouldn't you think he'd be doing a little better? So far, not really seeing any signs of life. If you're looking at the same poll numbers that I am and thinking Ciattarelli has this thing right where he wants to be, I can't help you. He's definitely behind. On to the issues and recent news from the campaign trail. The economy is going to be the top point of discussion, and it would be in most places. The nationalization of these elections is a thing too, and don't be surprised to see this election become a referendum on Trump. If so, that would not work for Ciattarelli. Sherrill is talking about job cuts and the massive Medicaid cuts soon coming down the pike. And of course, she's trying to tie Ciattarelli to it because he's tied to Trump. Not as much as some other candidates from the June primary would have been, but he has the endorsement. Ciattarelli has spent some time talking about immigration and rerunning the race he had from 4 years ago, running against the outgoing governor Phil Murphy. It's probably in Ciattarelli's best interest not for the race to become too nationalized, because the latest polls from New Jersey had Donald Trump's approval ratings in the high 30s. However, Sherrill will connect him to Trump and all the bad things going on and all the dissatisfaction about cost of living and jobs and so forth. Ciattarelli might be able to say, well, you're in Congress, Mikey. What are you doing about this? But in his latest ad, he's straight out saying, Sherrill wants to talk about Trump. Trump has nothing to do with this. Don't talk about Trump. And then he goes into the culture war stuff, saying something along the lines of Sherrill cares more about pronouns than problems. Not sure how effective that last one's going to be in New Jersey. He may or may not have a point with the Trump business, but like I said in Virginia's update from this past Labor Day weekend, if the election evolves into a referendum on Trump, he is going to lose. He's trying quite hard to make sure that this does not become one. As mentioned, I'd rather be Sherrill at the moment. New Jersey waffled a little bit in 2024, but at its core, it's still a blue state. And Republicans can win the governorship here, but a few stars need to align for that to happen. So far, I don't see it. Not to say it can't happen. So far, no. Some people actually think this race might be closer than the Virginia one. I don't know if I'm there yet, but it's genuinely not impossible. This campaign is just ramping up, and I think we're going to start seeing more news from New Jersey soon. There's supposed to be a debate between Sherrill and Ciattarelli on September 21st, so that's coming up shortly. We'll keep following this race if you keep watching. If you're not watching, then what the hell are we doing here? So like and subscribe and check out electionyard.com.